Clumsy, clumsy, clumsy. It's winter, the shop's closed and we're getting ready to open. But I've had a little bit of an accident with this epic Porsche. Now, it's a Porsche 935 and or also known as a Moby Dick. And it's the Moby bit that's missing. What's happened is, it's been dropped at the back here. It's cracked, big bit of the fin's off, the little bit of the fin's off, and this metal trim, which is a little bit, well, it's a little bit worse for wear. Let me see if I straighten that out. All need putting back on this model. If I show you the back of the car, you'll see there's a nasty hairline crack in there and there. Also, forgot to mention, the windscreen's popped off. Now, it is only a very thin piece of plastic and they're murder to try and get back in. But this model is just way too cool to throw away. So what I'm going to do is repair it and sell it off cheap in the shop. So most of the damage to this car is at the back. Now these are plastic and they're just glued in, and if you pick these models up by the windows they tend to pop out, which is murder, but it's going to be murder trying to get that back in as well. Oh, there should be a windscreen wiper somewhere as well. Maybe I've dropped that carrying it through. I'm not going to be able to fill and repaint those, I don't think. And I can't secure it any better underneath either. So it's just going to be a little bit of gluing back together, and someone is going to get a slightly damaged but absolutely bargain 1/12 scale Porsche 935. Luckily I found the missing windscreen wiper. Glad I hadn't dropped that. I think the first area I'm going to work on is the windscreen, get that done, because it's going to be the fiddliest. There is also a point, this super glue may not stick because of how cold it is in here. The way I'm going to try and do this is by putting little dabs of super glue around one edge, which is risky. Then I'm going to be able to stick the other side down. It just bounces out. So I'll get that in, and then I'll get the windscreen wiper on, and then the front end is kind of sorted. If it will stick on this side where I've put a couple of dabs of glue, and then I'm going to slowly work my way along and down the side and across the front. This is so difficult to get in the right place. I can't see how it's a viable way of doing this in the factory. If you've got to make hundreds of these models, sticking the windscreens in like this, it's the biggest faff in the world. So that looks like it's stuck at that end, which is a result. Right, I think that's stuck too. Let's keep going like this. I'm going to leave that at that and see if it sticks. And then the next thing to do is this. Let's hold that there for a few seconds. And then I'm going to remove my hand and it's going to drop off straight away, isn't it? Right, I'm just going to have to leave my hand there for a very long time until it sticks. Which is going to make absolutely riveting viewing, I'm sure. Why is that not sticking? Please give me a break here. So that windscreen wiper has finally started to stick down a bit. So that is the front end as best as I can get it, and I'm not going to fiddle around with it too much. So now we're on to the difficult bit, which is going to be sticking that bit on there. I've spent a bit of time trying to get this straightened out so it'll go flat on there. It's not perfect, but I'm just going to hit this with a line of super glue and see if we can get it to stick. Right, I'll just go that far. Cold doesn't help the glue. My steady hands don't help the glue. That's better. I'm going to start running as much glue as I can down the back of this. Well, it's far from perfect, but it's on. So that is that back piece on. It is sticking up. So the final bit is this, which is going to be nerve-wracking. So these pieces here don't want to push back into the body. The body's split. I don't want to force it, and I've got to get this to rest on them as well, and try and get it to line up with all the original holes. Crikey. So pushing that into there is forcing that crack open. I think what I'm going to do is actually sand this back. I think what I need to do is take the model off the base so it's a bit easier to work on. This means I can have my first look underneath the back of this, and I've got to be so careful. Now, I don't think you'll really be able to make this out, but those stress cracks on the top don't really go all the way through. Does a little bit on that side. I'm just going to put a couple of blobs of glue. Now I've got to be careful when I put the car down because it's got this aerial on it. So I'm just going to support it like that. I'm just going to pour a little bit of glue around there. I don't know if you can see it there, 1 of 1,000. Shouldn't really be doing this on the box, but got to be so careful I don't break these parts as well. Ironically, that bit is made out of metal, and this car, the company that make them are called Truescale, and this car is resin. Now that fits nicely in there and nicely in there, and we're not pushing this crack open anymore. The hard part now is going to be getting those pips there to line up with the tops of this. So those have actually stuck in now. Got into the damage a little bit with the glue. But this is the moment of truth. And again, I'm just going to have to hold this while it sticks. What I'm not looking forward to now is getting it back on the base there. So I fixed it. I got the windscreen back in, windscreen wiper on. There's a tiny gap at the top there, but I'm not going to fiddle with that. And we've got the fin on. And that back metal plate is just some tiny, well, that's the worst hairline crack in the back. But I've glued it from underneath. Take care, guys.